Today we're going to talk about conducting an interview via Skype while recording and streaming using OBS Studios to live stream to a platform such as Twitch. If you need a tutorial video on how to set up scenes in the OBS Studio software, how to stream in general, or how to conduct a writing stream in particular, I have another video for that. I'll include that into the description. Everything that we talk about in this video, I will have timestamps so that you can click through to specific things that you want to see if you don't want to watch the video all the way through. Things we're going to talk about today is setting up your Skype within your scenes. The person that I actually am making this video for particularly has done that pretty well, but we're going to go over it anyway for others that may be watching it. The second thing we're going to look at is the buttons you're going to need on the OBS Studio software, including your virtual camera, start recording, and start streaming buttons, and when to use those. Next, we're going to see setting up Skype for virtual camera and why that's important. We're going to check and be sure that desktop and microphone sounds are on. We're also going to show how to troubleshoot if those things happen to get disconnected in some way. Then we're going to look at the recording settings, what format is best to record in, and then how to convert that to an MP4 for editing and everything else that you would need to do. And that would just about cover it. All right, so let's look first at setting up your Skype call within the frames of your OBS Studio scenes. The last interview I recorded using OBS Studio was with an author named Frank Edler. And so I have my scene set up here. I have my name and tagline. We were talking about his podcast Bazong. I had his name down here. The frame itself, if you see this is a PNG, which means I have holes cut out. I have a hole cut out for my face. I have a hole cut out for my display. So if I pull that away, this is my camera scene. This is my display. I have them set up in a way so that these boxes make them look nice and neat. So when I open Skype on my main display, then I want to be sure that it shows up in this scene. This is what my computer setup would look like with two monitors. Now the monitor on the right there, you'll see I have my OBS Studio software there, and currently that's where it's sitting, although I'll pull it to my display to show you some things on the software itself. I also have my Twitch dashboard, so that's from the Twitch website where I can see my stats, but more importantly I can see the chat. So if someone's talking to me live, I can see their questions, ask my guest those questions, or answer them myself. My main display screen is here on the left, and that has Skype in it. Now essentially it worked the same way with Zoom or another such program. Basically, I would take the box for Skype, I would shape it the way I need it to be, and then I would align it on the screen so that it fit inside those displays. So on my main screen, you can see my cursor moving around there. I would have the Skype aligned so that when the person came in on the call, they would fit into that screen the way I needed them to. And then it would be the same no matter how I did those displays. You can see here I have two smaller boxes so that we can talk about Frank Edler's books. And as you can see, my cursor kind of moving around in that smaller box, I'd have my display aligned there. So if I move this PNG, you can see that I have my computer screen in one spot, I have the image from my web camera in another. Everything that I don't want on the screen I have pulled off for the moment. And then I align that PNG image over the top so that it looks the way I want it to look. And then I can do just about anything I want to with those. Last time I interviewed Christine Morgan, we had her books on the screen there as well. So we just aligned that Skype or that Zoom image in there. If you use Zoom instead of Skype, you'll want to be sure that you lock down the screens of the people that you're talking to so they stay where you want them to stay. Some people prefer programs such as StreamYard, which would allow you to set up your scenes within the program itself, but then also call people from that program. So it's kind of all in one. It would be as if you could use Skype to stream live to another platform. StreamYard also allows you to stream to multiple platforms. So you could stream your interview to Facebook, to Twitter, to YouTube all at the same time. OBS Studio software allows you to stream to multiple platforms. Now, if we're talking about Twitch specifically, once you're a Twitch affiliate, you can't stream to Twitch and other platforms at the same time. That's against their rules as of the time that I'm recording this. Anything that you stream, that you record on Twitch, that you stream on Twitch, you can't re-upload to another platform within 24 hours. So I can share Twitch links anywhere I want, but say if I want to record it, edit the interview, and then put it up on YouTube, I wouldn't be able to make that public for 24 hours after the point that it was live streamed on Twitch. If you're a Twitch, that's whether you're a Twitch affiliate or a Twitch partner. If you're a Twitch partner, the typical Twitch partner contract says that you can't stream to any other platform but Twitch. Typically, Twitch partners are exclusive to Twitch. So if you get to the affiliate or partner level with any platform that you're live streaming on, be sure you read the rules before you sign, and then make sure you follow those rules so you don't lose your income sources. But all that aside, using Skype, you would basically just position it on your display screen so that it showed up in your boxes the way you wanted. Like I said, if you need help setting up software and scenes and that kind of thing, you can check out the video that's in the description of this video. All right, don't get confused here. I have my OBS software on my display screen, so my display is showing myself going back into infinity, so just ignore that. Basically, this whole frame here that you see lit up in blue is what my screen looks like, but you're seeing the software around the outside too. The reason we're here is to look at the buttons. So I have the record button already going because obviously I'm recording this video as I'm talking to you. Start virtual camera. Virtual camera is what you're going to need to use for your Skype so that the person watching you or talking with you can see something. They'll see your scenes. So I want to make sure I click that virtual camera before I call them on Skype. And then start streaming, of course. When you're ready, when you have everything aligned, you're already recording and you're ready to make your conversation live, then you would hit the start streaming button just like any other time you stream, and then all of that would be going at once. Now, the reason you want to use the virtual camera for Skype is because if Skype and OBS are trying to pull this camera image at the same time, you're going to run into some problems with the video. You'll also probably run into some problems with the audio. So your webcam would be dedicated to the OBS software where you're recording, and the virtual camera would be used by Skype so that the person talking to you would see, and they would see the scene that you're recording essentially. Your guest would see this. So if this is the scene you have up, if this is what you're recording, this is what they would see on Skype. So they'd be seeing you, they'd be seeing themselves, they'd be seeing the scene, which there is some advantages to that, because then if I decide to start talking about their books and I click over here and I start talking to Frank about Cat Coin or Death Gets a Book or one of those things, then he is seeing the same image that everybody in the video recording would see later. So there's some advantages to that, in addition to the fact that the two programs aren't fighting over the same camera. All right, when I open Skype, if I'm about to call someone, I need to make sure that my virtual camera is already on the way that I showed you just a moment ago. Before I call anyone, I also need to make sure my virtual camera is set up correctly in Skype. So this is my display. My display is showing you my main screen where I have Skype completely open, and then I just have my camera image off to the side here so that you don't feel lonely while I'm talking to you. All right, so I need to go to these three dots here. I click that, I open settings. Now I'm looking at all the settings. The setting I want is audio and video. So I click that. I already have virtual camera selected, so you'd be seeing, it looks backwards here, but it'll look normal to the person you're talking to. So to set my virtual camera on here where I have video and camera, I go to this little gray image here. I click the arrow and it gives me all my options. One of my options is the USB camera. So that's this webcam, which was probably what you normally use when you're on Skype. And then you want the OBS virtual camera, which is an option because I have the virtual camera on. That's the one I select. And now my Skype is going to pull from the OBS image, the virtual camera for OBS, and not fight for this web camera or its sound or anything like that. Now going down to sound, I want to dismiss that. I don't need a background. We have the audio. So it looks like default communications device is picked, but what I want is my I want my USB microphone, not my USB camera. The image or the audio from my camera is terrible. The audio from my microphone is good, so I want to be sure that's selected each time, so that I definitely will go to that when I'm going there. So virtual camera, and make sure the microphone you want is selected, and then you're all set. And that's when you would make your call to whoever you're going to talk to. Their image would come up, and you'll have them aligned in your boxes for your interview, or you get them aligned after you have them on before you start streaming, and before you get to the part of the recording that you would that you would edit for whatever you're talking to or talking about. On your OBS, you want to be sure your microphone is on. So mine is on. If it wasn't on, I wouldn't be recording anything and I'd have to start this whole thing over. You also want to be sure your desktop is on. Now, my desktop isn't doing anything right now because I don't have anybody on. But if I had a Skype call going, then you'd see the same jumping here when the other person was talking. So you need your microphone link on so that you're being heard, you're picking up in the recording, and of course the person on Skype can hear you. And you need your desktop on so that your person you're interviewing is heard as well. So these two things have to be on and in all the scenes that you're using for your interview. Now, there is an instance where the sound can get disconnected. So the device that I have hooked up to what I call new microphone link in mine would possibly not be connected anymore. That can happen if your computer updates and something goes wrong. It can happen if there's a glitch in the system. It doesn't happen often, especially if your computer is powerful enough to handle what you're doing with streaming anyway. So if you get a disconnection, like if I turned on my microphone and it looked like this, the desktop audio, the way it looks right now, because it wasn't picking up anything, then I would go to this little cog right here and I would click on that. I can go to advanced properties, and if I wanted to get fancy, like if I want to increase or decrease the decibels of something, I can do that on my desktop audio, which I have down a tiny bit, or my microphone, which I have up. If you'll notice on my microphone, if I get up in there, I spike red. I have it a little louder on purpose because I tend to look down and type and talk more quietly. So like when I'm typing, it picks up my sound better even though I'm being quiet. What I want though for what I'm doing is just properties, not advanced properties. So when I hit properties on that cog, I get what device is here and I can look at what's available. There's default, there's my USB camera, and then there's my microphone. I want to definitely use my microphone. Click OK, and then I should be reconnected. Desktop isn't usually as big of an issue, and it can get confusing by the fact that there's multiple tracks of desktop that can come in sometimes, but we'll take a look at it. Properties, usually default is fine, but you can see here high definition audio, speaker audio I don't want, Realtek digital output I don't necessarily want, headphones I don't want my headphone sound coming through, because that's not, it wouldn't show up in the sound correctly. So usually default is fine, but you'll have kind of the name of your computer is typically the one that you would have for desktop if that ever got disconnected, which again, the only reason you're not getting something on there right now is because I'm not running like a YouTube video, or I don't have an interview going on Skype, so there's no sound source coming through my desktop at the moment, but I need to be sure that's on. For my purposes, I'm going to turn it off, just because like anytime my Facebook beeped, that would come through the video. but you definitely want to be sure both of these are on when you're when you're dealing with an interview. When you record, there's obviously this would be going, virtual camera would be going, and you'd be streaming once you were live, all three at the same time, and you turn them all off when you're done. Stop streaming first, I think, and then stop recording, and then turn off your virtual camera when you're done talking to the person afterward or whatever. You want to go to settings when you're setting up to record. So you can get to settings from here, or you can go up to file and click settings there. Either one of those will take you to the same place. So I'll click on settings. Now I'm looking at my general settings. For recording, I want to go to output. So I click that output, and then I want to look at recording format. So right here, it won't let me click it right now because I'm in the middle of recording, but if you clicked on this and you opened it up, you would be looking at MKV, there's an FL something, there's MP4. Now MP4 is what you want to use when you're dealing with MP4 is what you want to use when you're dealing with editing, but you don't want to record in MP4. And the reason is if there's any sort of glitch in the recording, the entire thing is lost. So you want to go to MKV. Now again, it's not letting me click it right now because I'm actually recording, so it won't let me change the format of my recording in the middle of a recording. But if I clicked on this, I would change it from MP4, which is usually the default, and go to MKV. And by doing MKV, then that if there's a glitch, you don't lose the entire recording. It's still there. So you'd want to be sure that's selected MKV. Of course, you do that prior to recording because you see it won't let you change it while you're in the middle of recording. Now, you can't edit an MKV file, but you can change it to an MP4 when you're done. So I'm done recording. Everything's fine. All of that stuff goes to live in my videos section. So that's where this would go. This right here is actually the recording that's going right now. So that's an in progress MKV recording currently. Now, what I would do when I'm done, I would go to File, to Remux Recording. So I go to Remux Recordings. I would click these dots here to select. Now, of course, this is the one that's already going. So I would, when this was finished, this is the one I would pick to remux into an MP4 that I could edit. But we'll just pick a different one for our purposes. So I open that. Now I can remux that recording. And now it's saved as an MP4. So that's done. And so that's how you would change your file type from an MKV, which is what you want to record in for safety, and then once you're done, you would remux it to an MP4, and then that's like every other file that you save. When you record directly from Skype, you get an MP4, and you can edit that. You can cut off the ends where you're not talking to people. You can edit out of the middle and all that with any sort of editing software. So I believe that's everything. If you have any questions, you can feel free to ask me, and we can walk through it together. And of course, just like with everything else, it just comes down to practicing with the software to get it to work correctly. So if I missed anything that you want to talk about, get hold of me, make a comment on this video if you're someone that I don't already know, and we'll discuss what you need to do to record your Skype conversations or stream your Skype conversations in real time.